Okay, so today I'm changing a thermostat on a 2014 Ford Escape. It's a 1.6 engine turbo. So we had a problem, the car is overheating. So the first thing we're gonna start by diagnose the thermostat. So we're gonna start with the thermostat, okay? So and from then we're gonna go, everything should be okay. We're gonna be checking all the system, make sure everything works properly. But to get to the thermostat, you have to do, the only hardest part to get to the thermostat is the, what you call the alternator, okay? The alternator is in the way. And to get the alternator, I'm going to show you the procedure to do it. You don't have to take out the intake to get to the alternator or to get to the thermostat housing, right? Because this thermostat is come with a housing. So the procedure to do this, the first thing you're going to want to do is to disconnect your battery, because we're going to take out the alternator. You have to get our tensioner, take out the alternator belt, okay? And the simplest way to do it is to release the mount of the engine, alright? Release the 2 bolt, there's 2 bolts on the mount of on the engine, which is number 15 bolt, right? Because the alternator cannot pass out between the engine and the radiator support. Alright, so I'm going to show you the procedure to do that, and I hope this video help you in doing a job like this. And don't mind if you take out the intake, you still have the same space you're going to work under there, okay? So I'm going to, so here's your alternator, alright? So this is your alternator. Because when they release this bolt, you have to disconnect the positive that comes from the battery to the alternator. So that's why you have to disconnect your battery. You don't want any short coming there. And you disconnect that wire, you take out the 3 bolts. You can take 2 from on top, and the one you take from the bottom is very easy to get it from the bottom, okay? And you have to take out it's an idle pulley that bolted on the alternator itself. Remove that from underneath. That is easy to remove from underneath. The 2 bolts on the alternator on the top, you remove them on the top. And the 3rd bolt, you remove it from underneath. So what you do, the first thing you do, you go under the car. I'm going to show you that after. You take out that bolt. Now you disconnect the belt first. Then you take out the bolt from the alternator bolt. That bolt go like this, okay? So that way the alternator wouldn't be moving and putting weight on the bolt, because it's going to be easy to take that bolt out. Take off your belt, take that bolt out, take off your idle pulley so you have space under there to work, okay? So what you're going to be doing, you're going to take out your alternator. Okay, take out this screw. I already removed the alternator, but right, 1 screw and 2 screws, alright? So now the alternator is out. But the only thing with this one, you cannot pass it, because you have the engine and you have your rod support here and your light support, everything is there, so you cannot pass this alternator here. And this procedure is the same procedure you're going to use if you're changing the alternator. Very simple way. Some people remove the intake to get to the thermostat housing, or to take the alternator out. You don't need to do that, because to take this intake out alone is like what I see here, like maybe 4 hours of waste time, okay, or more. If you're good at this mechanic job, or if somebody want to try this by yourself to save some money, that's the wrong way to go. All right, so what you do, remove the 2 bolts on the engine mount, right? Remove the 2 bolts, and when you remove the 2 bolts, now what happened, your engine can move freely, okay? So you're going to take a jack, you're going to put it under the engine. But when you jack up the car under the engine, don't put the jack at the center, because it's aluminum pan, you can break it. And don't just use the jack only. Take a 2x4 and maybe about feet, and put it on top of the jack, and then you rest that almost to the tip of the oil pan, because that part is more rigid, more strong, okay? So you put it there, you jack up the engine. I'm going to show you the procedure, how to get the alternator out without removing anything else, okay? So my jack is on the oil pan under the engine. I'm gonna be jacking up the engine. Alright? See the engine moving itself. Okay? So, and all I have to do is to push the engine over as far as it can go. Alright? And then I drop my jack down back. Okay? So the engine sits back there, but it's not in the right place because I move it over. So now, there's a number 10 bolt on this, the AC line. Remove that bolt so the line can move around. Okay, it can move not much, but a little bit. Okay. And then you remove your alternator. Alright. Okay, just push it back, the engine some more. Alright. So you get some more space there. Alright. The alternator is out. Okay. So now your thermostat housing is right there. If I can show you. Okay, your thermostat housing is here. You have the pump here. You're gonna disconnect the hose from that. Okay, it's a special clip. Don't lose the clip. Okay, because you might have a hard time finding it, or you have to go back to the dealer to get a clip. Okay, and you can see in there properly. This is a water pump, thermostat housing, and you disconnect this electrical connector into the pump and disconnect this hose here, and you have the same place to work, and you didn't have to do all of that extra work. All right, so I'm going to go ahead by taking out the hose for the radiator. Because for hose clamp, I like to use a vice grip. Okay, the hose is out, and you proceed to take the electrical connection on the pump. All right, that is out. Push it aside. Okay, then the next step, what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove the pump because right, that's number 2/8 screws there. Because why you have a screw right to the side there, so you wanna just get that out of the way. You have to remove it anyway because of you have to put it on the so I take my 2 bolts out from the pump. So we're gonna wiggle that out. Alright. So that's it here. Okay. So now we're gonna proceed to take the bolt out. We have a second hose under there. We're not going to worry about that hose there. We're going to take out that, and then after we can remove that hose because the clip is at the bottom. Alright. Usually for this job I use the ratchet to go faster, the air ratchet, but I don't want to use it, so I'm just going to use the regular ratchet here because that's make a lot of noise, you know. When you're making video, you don't want too much of noise. As I work like that, I will be taking it out already. It's two spin with the gun and it's out. You're gonna need a number 8. And you put all your bolts from that housing in a special place. But I wouldn't put it back, how to put it back, because they sent me the wrong housing and I will have to order that again. But it's the same procedure. Taking it out back is just the reverse of what you're doing. Okay, and your belt. It's always good to put your, when you're gonna take off the drive belt, get a piece of paper and a pen and you mark the direction of the belt. It's very important because it's easy for you to put it back if you don't have access to internet, or you know, so that way you know, you just draw it on the routine, you just mark everything, the water pump, the alternator, the drive, the pulley, the crank pulley, so you mark everything, so you know where everything is. For the inside bolt, you need a tensioner, an extension. No, I got a hunt for that bolt. Okay, find it. Okay, you have a next one there. See, even if you take out the intake, it still wouldn't help you in any much clearance. You know, you just have more room, a lot more work for it to do that, but you don't need to do that. Alright. So basically this thermostat has 4 bolts, okay? Get your bolt up. So you can see that the thermostat is loose from the housing. Alright, it's loose here, it's already up. So the only thing I have to do now is to disconnect my hose. So that's why I take it out first, because now I can get access to the inside hose, because before it was hard to get it because it was. Alright, so now I'm gonna disconnect that. And so long it will take a long time. Okay? It's very simple. To change this thermostat is just like if I use the air ratchet, everything should be like an hour job, I think. Alright, I'm gonna disconnect the second hose. There's two hoses to the housing. To release that, I take a flat screwdriver. And you pry the hose off. You release it. First you try to release it from side to side. Because it's been there for years with the heat and everything, it just seals itself on the housing. Try not to damage the hose, okay? When you release it, you just pull it out. Guys, you're gonna use back the same hose. Alright. So this is the thermostat here. You can see this is the thermostat and this is the housing. Okay? So if you release this here, the whole piece comes apart. Alright? So that's how you change thermostat on a 2014 Ford Escape without removing the intake or anything else. Okay? I'm going to show you underneath the procedure underneath. Okay? So you have a clearance you can see in there. Alright? And then when you finish it, just put back this cover. So everything is like reverse of the way you take it out. Alright? So I hope this video helped you to do this job. There's not much work underneath. Like I said, the alternator bolt, okay, you can go in there. You can take it from underneath and you take out the idler pulley from underneath. That's the two things you take out. And that's it. So that's how you change thermostat housing on a 2014 Ford Escape.